How y'all doing out there? Frank Red, once again, locked in the dungeon right here in my wonderful home studio. I wish you could see it. It is full scope, if you will. Not too big, just a nice little setup for me to be relaxed and talk sports with people out there who have the time to do so. All right. We were on air last night. We talked a lot about the Golden State Warriors' loss to the Houston Rockets, and we might revisit that a little bit. But we're probably going to look forward to what's taking place tomorrow night. They take on a Houston Rockets team that at one point had won 5 games in a row this year. They got a new coach, Emi Udoka, who came from the Boston Celtics after leading them to the NBA Finals against the Golden State Warriors, of which they lost. The Warriors winning their 4th world title under the Steve Kerr-led regime. But they're different now in Houston. Emi Udoka has really galvanized that team relatively quickly. I think like most people thought that he would. He's a great coach, but he's a great motivator. And I think young players really relate to him. And it sounds simple, but it's not simple. When you find somebody who can connect with young people, with millionaires, with people of different ethnicities and backgrounds to formulate a cohesive unit, then you know that you have something from a coaching perspective. So last night's game was tough against OKC, a game that the Warriors should have won and gave away. But part of the process is getting through the madness and having a short memory and focusing on what is next. Thank God that the Warriors didn't have to wait, 3 or 4 days to get an opportunity to right the ship. They play tomorrow night, so should be a good game. We're going to get into that. We're also going to talk about the San Francisco 49ers, who won a couple of games straight after sputtering and losing 3 games in a row. They took care of what I think is a surprisingly pretty good Tampa Bay Buccaneers team this year, 27-24. We'll get into the particulars, how quarterback Brock Purdy did and some of the other specific player numbers as we evolve tonight. But the main thing is the 49ers are now back in first place in the Western Division of the NFC. They have a 7-3 record, and they take on a game and smarting Seattle Seahawks team on Thanksgiving night. That should be a goodie. The Seahawks lost today against the LA Rams on the last second field goal attempt. So I would think, knowing Pete Carroll, they're going to be tarred and feathered and ready to go against the 49ers to make a statement. So this is not going to be an easy game. One would expect that the weather would be inclement on Thanksgiving night, but we don't know. So we'll get into that. I also want to talk a little bit about what I think is one of the best redemption stories in sports, and that's Russell Wilson. A lot of professional broadcasters and fans and people had buried this guy. People were even questioning whether or not he was going to be in the Hall of Fame based on what he's already done in Seattle. People said that he was a product of the system in Seattle and not because he was a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback. I thought it was unfair. His personality might be a little different. Maybe he doesn't socialize with guys in ways that most NFL players expect their quarterback to do that. I don't know. I'm not an NFL player. But for 1 second did I ever doubt whether or not this guy could play football. Never. Despite some of the canned responses and his post-game speeches, that's all good. What happens on the field? And, Sean Payton is kind of snarky. He kind of likes things run a certain way. But I knew that he had to work with Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is guaranteed over $100 million. So it was imperative for Sean Payton and Russell Wilson to find a way to work together. And after getting off to a 1-5 start, but losing to the New York Jets, they've got it together. They're 5-5, and with Joe Burrow being done for the season, Buffalo not playing up to their standards, it's not inconceivable that the Denver Broncos could potentially be in the playoffs this year. So props to Russell Wilson. I mean, he's playing good football. He really is. His numbers are outstanding. He's on a Pro Bowl arc. Nobody would say that at the beginning of the year. They thought he would have been replaced by Stenham and some of these other also-ran quarterbacks that haven't done anything. And all he's done is rally this team and galvanize his team on the field and go out and play excellent football. All right. We'll continue with the rundown, but first and foremost, I want to get out to Vicky, who stepped in the dungeon for us. She says, put my glasses on, Vicky, so I can read properly. Hi, Frank. Good game today. The Badge, Hafunga tore his ACL. I think that the 49ers can beat the Seahawks without him. Next man up, as the saying goes. Hopefully the Warriors can win tomorrow. Yeah, Hafunga is a Pro Bowl caliber safety out of USC. And this is a big loss for the 49ers. But it's football. That's what it's about. And it is next man up. And I think that they'll be fine. His replacement today had an INT in the end zone. So maybe that's an omen for what's going to happen in the future. The Seattle game, I think, is going to be tough. It's going to be close. And, we'll see what happens, but they got a good quarterback. Geno is good. They got excellent wide receivers. They got a couple of running backs that can play. Pete Carroll knows how to scheme up a defense. He's historic in that regard. So I'm looking for a good game. And even like Tampa Bay, Tampa Bay gave the 49ers a pretty good game today. But the talent level of the 49ers, I think, was just too much for the Tampa Bay Bucs. Thank you, Vicky. I appreciate you always stepping in the dungeon. Don't let that be the only one if you have something else to say. I'm going to talk about Ken Dorsey also, the offensive coordinator of the Buffalo Bills, who got sacked last week after the special teams coach or somebody responsible for having 11 men on the field didn't do their job, and they lost in the last second field goal, and Dorsey got fired. I got an interesting take on it. It'd be interesting to see if people agree with it or not. And I'll tease it by saying that I think people started to look at Ken Dorsey differently when he went ballistic in the coaching box. You don't see that. You rarely see that. And I was thinking about it because I've had a couple of conversations with Ken Dorsey. When I was covering the Raiders, he was just getting into the business as I think he's probably like a scout or some type of assistant for the Carolina Panthers, is where he got his first gig. And we would be in the coaching box and we would have some conversations from time to time. Nice guy, mild-mannered, kind of kept his head down, just did his job. So it was shocking to see the implosion in the coaching box. And, I think he became somewhat of a empathetic figure when that happened, because there's no way he should have got fired just simply based off his credentials. So I've been thinking about it all day because it just speaks to me, and it says that you never know who's watching. You never really know when you're going to have a moment and how people are going to perceive that and what that will do for you long term. Will it have any effect or not? But I think I can build a narrative that supports my thesis. So I also want to talk about what was maybe the best sporting event of the day. And that was the Stanford Women taking out the Duke Lady Blue Devils in overtime, 82-79. Cameron Brink God sister of one Stephen Wardell Curry had 29 points, 11 rebounds, and multiple blocks. 72 free throws in a row she's made. The NC2A record, I don't know if it's a standard record or for the women's game, I'm not quite sure, but it's 76, and she's at 72. What a great player. And I have an interesting take on her as well. All right, I want to start with the 49ers. It's something that kind of bothers me a little bit. I don't know if it bothers you guys. But aren't we tired of, the conversation centering around Brock Purdy? You know, I've been through with whether or not Brock Purdy is a legitimate quarterback a long time ago. The guy can play. You know, it doesn't matter where he was drafted. He's in a great system for his skill set, and he's awesome in it. Right? Where's the conversation? Because he had a couple of bad games? No, dude can ball. He can play. Now, why do we have to sprinkle oil on him, though? Why do we have to anoint him as the next guy, like the next phenom quarterback in the NFL? He's not that either. He's not that. Why do we start comparing Brock Purdy to some of the all-time greats in the NFL who've already established themselves? This is his second year. I don't get it, man. I don't. Even professional, when I think of somebody who's being paid, that gives you the right to be honest. Why do you have to follow some BS script? Is Brock Purdy a top 5 quarterback in the NFL? No way. I don't think so. No. He's playing in one of the best systems in all of the NFL, offensively and defensively. He has guys who can go and get the football. Just throw it in the area. Now, he dropped the pass today. It's one of the best that we've ever seen. He dropped it in the basket. But more times than not, Brandon, Ayuk, Debo, Kittle, McCaffrey, these guys go and get the football. And he gets credit for it. And then, if he has a bad game or two, you have a stampede of naysayers telling you that the guy sucks. It's a nothing conversation to me. It's too early in the game. If you ask me, is Brock Purdy a better quarterback than Dak Prescott? I don't think so. If you ask me, is he a better quarterback than Jaden Hurst? I don't think he is. Is he better than Matthew Stafford? I don't think he is. No. Is he a top 10 quarterback? Absolutely. Vicky, you said Ken was a player, wasn't he? Ken who? I'm not quite sure. Help me out with that. Okay. Vicky also says, yes, I'm tired of the Brock Purdy talk, the Brock talk. He's a good quarterback. Yeah, exactly, Vicky. Why do we think alike? Can't we just acknowledge that he's good? Why do we have to start comparing him to Pat Mahomes or Tua Tagovailoa? He's not as good as Tua, not to me. Ronnie Iglesias, thank you, stepping in. What's up, Frank? Brock is playing at an extremely high level. The dude is a baller. It's fun to watch, and the story's great. Let's just enjoy what he's doing. Exactly. But why get crazy? Yes, Vicky. I had forgot. He was like, they made the comparison that he's the last 49er quarterback since Joe Montana who had a perfect QBR rating. Okay. Big accomplishment. That's great. Let's keep it moving. But if you don't know any better, somebody might infer that they're comparing him to Joe Montana. Are you kidding me right now? Stop it. It's not necessary. $21 for 25, 333 yards, 3 touchdowns. He was outstanding. He really was. Brandon Ayuk, 5 catches, 156 yards. George Kittle, 8 for 89. Deebo Samuels, 3 for 63. Before I came on air, I started thinking about, which would be interesting, tell me another NFL team that has comparable weapons that the 49ers have when everybody's healthy. Maybe Philly? Certainly not Dallas, not in my opinion. Who? I mean, Cincinnati, when all their guys are there, it's not many. The 49ers are stacked offensively and defensively. The 49ers have the best defensive line in football right now from a talent perspective. They're not necessarily playing the best, but this team is stacked. This team is built to win a Super Bowl this year. It would not surprise me if a guy like Deebo Samuels got traded this year. He makes a lot of money. You're going to have to can you pay him and Brandon Ayuk? Kittle probably is looking for some more cash. This is the year, folks. Chase, the rental from the Commanders. He's probably not going to be on the 49ers next year. This team is loaded with talent, and I would like to see nothing more than for 49er fans to see them win a Super Bowl. Wouldn't bother me if they didn't, but this team is built to win a Super Bowl this year. And by excellent scouting, by some luck, they have a quarterback who is equipped to take them to the finish line. And we'll see if it happens. But I'm just tired of that narrative, and particularly with people who I respect, who come on air and tell everybody how great Brock Purdy is. Brock Purdy's good. He's good. Is he the best quarterback that we've seen? Not in my opinion. Change the variables. I feel sorry for Bryce Young. I do. This dude has nothing to work with. Can you imagine if Bryce Young had the weapons that Brock Purdy has? Even Houston has a much better system than Carolina. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Fred Warner, 12 tackles. Dre Greenwald, 8 tackles. They were flying all over the field. Yeah. All right, that's my take on Brock Purdy. The 49ers take on the Seattle Seahawks on Thursday night, and I think it's going to be a better game than maybe some other folks might think it is because of a couple of things. Pete Carroll is a legend. He coaches fundamental football. It doesn't matter the players. They might not win as many games, but invariably they're going to play a style of football that is fundamentally sound on both sides of the football. So from a defensive perspective, they're going to try to stop you. Whether or not they can stop the 49ers, I think the weather will have a role in determining that. If the 49ers have a real nice field to work with, I think that their talent will prevail. But if it's a slick track and it comes down to the running game, I think Seattle has a comparable running game to the 49ers when you consider all of their running backs. They can run the football. and they're committed to running the football. So we'll see what's up with that. The Golden State Warriors take on the Houston Rockets tomorrow night at home. And before I came on air, I started to do some research on some things I wanted to talk about. And if you start to replay last night's game, I was thinking about Jonathan Kuminga, because when Steve Kerr subbed in Jonathan Kuminga in the third quarter, all hell broke loose. It was like literally a group of horses being let out of the barn with no chance of bringing any of them back in. Couldn't stop them. Nothing. It was gone. And in the same breath, I'm going to say that I need to see him on the court more. I need to see him coached up. He's averaging 12 points a game. Now, 12 points a game, shooting at least 75% from the free throw line. He has twice as many turnovers as he has assists, pretty much every game. And I think part of that is a function of coaching, because he's not coming into this arena fully equipped from a mental standpoint. He's learning on the job. And I think that as opposed to saying, can't trust him, you got to coach him up, because he's a difference maker for the Warriors. He really is. They don't have another guy like that. So when you get a guy like Wiggins, who finally kind of came out of his shell, and had a historic game as far as I'm concerned from his standpoint, Kuminga needs to be an add-on to that. He needs to be somebody who's going to play 20 to 25 minutes every game, in my opinion. Not 20. Because I didn't conceive of this guy being able to average 15 points a game in year 3. But there's a possibility that he could average 15 points a game this year, because he's making so many free throws. Does he need to cut down on his turnovers? Yes, he does. Does he need to not force shots when they're not there? Yeah, but that's all part of the growth process. Moses Moody is averaging 17 minutes a game. I would love to see that consistently be 20. I think that those 3 to 5 extra minutes matter. He's averaging 7 points a game. I think Moses Moody could average 10 points a game. And I think that would really, really help the Warriors. Because as the season wears on, it's not like a scientific breakthrough to draw the conclusion that their older players will get fatigued. We need those guys in the first quarter and then the fourth quarter and at the start of the third quarter. The second half of the first quarter, you want to use your bench. In the second quarter, literally 2 or 3 minutes into the game, you want to use your bench and not lose anything. I think if they follow that format, they're going to be okay. And earlier this season, that's what they were doing. But as the competition gets better, you can't just throw anybody out there. You have to play well. And I don't see how the Warriors can reach the goals that they set for themselves without Jonathan Kuminga playing a larger role. Not a major role. I'm not saying 30 minutes a game. I'm not saying that. But I think half the game, 24 to 25 minutes a game, is pretty impressive when you look at what he's doing right now. He's averaging 12 points a game in 20 minutes in spite of the turnovers. So they can cut that down. I think that he should play more. I think he should be at least 25 minutes a game. Chris Paul, to me, has been awesome. I said that before. I haven't looked at any stats or anything, but the Pittsburgh Steelers season, to me, is becoming so frustrating because I'm such a big Mike Tomlin fan. And I'm a Steelers fan as well. I like the Steelers, and I like their fans. I mean, what's happening right now, and even like the running backs, players are starting to comment, it's ridiculous. The Pittsburgh Steelers average about 14 or 15 points a game. In every game, regardless of who they play, you know it's going to be close. But for them to lose today to Cleveland to 13-10, and it's not, I mean, I don't know if Mike Tomlin can pull something out of a hat. I mean, they need a quarterback. They need a quarterback. And I don't think that Pickett next year is going to miraculously turn into Ben Roethlisberger. I don't think it's going to happen. SG, what's up, brother? He said, what's up, Frank? How are you doing tonight? I'm doing fine, man. Vicky, help me out. Who is Darcy? Is that a 49er player? Is that the person you're talking about who replaced Hafunga? Not quite sure. Yeah, I mean that's one of the stories that is bothering me right now because are the Pittsburgh Steelers going to win a Super Bowl? No, they're not. Will they have above a 500 record? Yeah, it's almost written in the bylaws that any team that Mike Tomlin coaches must be above 500 or either no less than 500. But I think that making the playoffs would be a tremendous accomplishment for this team based off their personnel. But it's becoming a drag. It's becoming a drag on their fans and certainly the players. I don't know if Mike Tomlin can keep it all together. I don't. SG says, sorry about this. Hold on. Thoughts on Brock Purdy's performance as he went 21-25, 333, 3 touchdowns, 0 picks. I talked about it, SG, and I might have pissed some people off because I've already established watching him that he's a good quarterback. I'm not willing to call him a top 5 quarterback in the NFL like I've heard by some people. Certainly, I'm not going to compare him to Steve Young or Joe Montana or anything like that. You know, he's good. Brock Purdy had a great day. I tend to look at the team around him. And he has a great team around him. He's doing his job well. And like the day-to-day wins that the 49ers are putting together are not that important, SG. I'm going to tell you why. Because the way that the 49ers have maneuvered the salary cap over the past couple of years, I don't know if they can keep doing that. I think that they have done a phenomenal job doing that this year. And they're built to win a Super Bowl this year. And I think it's going to be a letdown if they don't make it to the Super Bowl based on their personnel. I mean, who has a better roster than the 49ers? Now, losing Hafunga, their strong safety, is a big deal. And we'll see if they can recover from that. They've been working out against Everett. Somebody's played for them in the past. He's probably going to get signed now. They got a good roster. They really do. Vicky, I got it now. You're talking about Ken Dorsey, and his spelling is Dorsey. That's who he is. Let me see what you said. Ken Dorsey, coach Buffalo Bills, got fired. Yeah, he was a player. I mean, Ken Dorsey. See, here's the thing about Ken Dorsey, Vicky. He was not only a player. This dude is going to be, I think, in the College Football Hall of Fame at some point. This is a kid from the Bay Area who went to Marimani High School, right? Like Division III, Division IV football, set the world on fire. Not like the most muscle-bound cat. I'm sure in high school he was probably around 6'4", 190 pounds, 200. Not a real big dude, but smart as all get out, accurate with the football. And all he did was go to Miami and win national championships. A terrific player. Ken Dorsey was legit. Comes from the Bay Area. So yes, he was not just a player, he was an outstanding player. And like I said, I had a couple of conversations with him out at some Raider football games, and I was pretty impressed with him as a person. So to see him go mad in the coach's box after getting the offensive coordinator's job, I was shocked by that. And I do think in some way that had an effect on him getting fired. I do, because not that he deserved to be fired, because he certainly did not, but I don't think that people ever looked at him in the same way. And it's shocking because we all know that it takes a lifetime. Now, maybe not a lifetime, but it takes a long time to build a reputation. It takes literally a second to ruin your reputation. And I don't think he's ruined his reputation at all. But I think that he's taken a couple of steps back in that arena, because that's not what we normally see. And I've been thinking about this for probably 24 hours. I'm going to tell you why. I watch a lot of YouTube videos because I like to learn. I'm a person who likes to learn stuff. And I was watching a video last night about sales. I've been a salesman at some point in my life. I've owned a business, and the guy who was talking was making some really interesting points. And one of the things that he said that is really, really important is marketing. And he broke marketing down. He said, listen, marketing is networking with someone who can help get your message out there. Like if you want to, sell some records, you go to a radio station and say, listen, here's my record, play my record. That's one way to market and to increase sales. But he also talked about branding. And I thought that was really, really interesting. And I tend to align myself on branding. I've always done that throughout my life. And I'm going to speak to that in a second, but I want to get my man in here who has something to say. My man Rob Brown says, Ken Dorsey played for the 49ers after playing in college at Miami. He wasn't very good in the NFL as a quarterback. He had a starting record of 2-14. Yeah, the game was a little fast for him. He can't run, but I would have loved to have you speak to his college record, Rob, because his college record is Hall of Fame worthy. I think would you agree with that? If you're not familiar with it, go check out his college record. Dude was outstanding. And his high school record. I mean, you don't get recruited to Miami from Marimani High School in Lafayette unless you are doing something special. This dude has a brilliant football mind, and he was a good player also. Check it out. My man SG says, thoughts on USC losing to UCLA 38-20 with Caleb Williams going 31 for 42 for 384, 1 touchdown and 1 pick. I could clearly see how emotionally he was. You know what? I'm not going to call his tenure at USC a failure. I mean, the guy won the Heisman Trophy. But I will say this, it was not a success. It wasn't a failure, but it was not a success. And it actually makes me mad. As much as sports that I have nothing to do with could make me mad. I'm not mad, but it kind of rubs me the wrong way. That's not why they brought Lincoln Riley to USC to do this. And it's why, I love fundamental football. Lincoln Riley is a brilliant football mind, great offensive guy, this and that. But I don't know how he could call his first 2 years at USC a success. And in all Caleb Williams' greatness, and I'm going to say this, I wrote it down on a piece of paper yesterday. That pass that he threw to Rice, Jerry Rice's kid, 66-yarder, I believe it was, that was one of the best passes that I've ever seen by a college quarterback. He dropped back, he ran up the pocket and just threw that missile and dropped it into literally what was like a basketball rim. That was impressive. This guy has unbelievable talent. He really does. Next level talent. And the comparisons to Patrick Mahomes are not crazy in terms of talent. Now, there's a difference. Everybody has talent in the NFL. Everybody doesn't have the same level of talent, but everybody has talent. It's not about that. It's can you deal with adversity? I haven't seen Caleb Williams deal with adversity in a way that I have been impressed by. I haven't. That concerns me. You know, I guess he's a prohibitive #1 draft pick. Fine. The one comparison physically to Patrick Mahomes that I see is I haven't seen players that can contort their hips and fire accurately the way that he can. Pretty impressive. He also has the ability to not only throw the deep ball, but he can throw intermediate routes very accurately. And that's also impressive. So the guy has tremendous ability. But I would be worried if I was a team that's drafting a quarterback that has not had a lot of success, and your job description as a quarterback is twofold. You got to make all the throws, got to make all the plays, but you got to be a leader too. You have to find a way to galvanize grown men who might get cut, who might not be able to pay their bills. You know, they're not going to put up with players who are not real consistent. And I don't think consistency has been a strong point of Caleb Williams in spite of the numbers. A lot of times people focus on the numbers. You shouldn't do that. Now, he doesn't play defense. The fact that Lincoln Riley thought that he could win consistently with that defensive presentation is beyond me. They were terrible last year on defense. And finally, they get rid of a defensive coordinator. You can't turn things around that fast. He needed to go. But I don't think that fans were expecting them to become a juggernaut that fast. It wasn't going to happen. SG says, athletes always break down in tears when they have a chance of winning a crucial game, which they feel. No, they don't. No, that's not true. Thoughts on the 79-yard pass from Brock Purdy to Deebo Samuels. It's one of the most exciting plays from the 49ers. Wasn't that to Ayuk? Was that Deebo? I'm talking about the pass he dropped to Ayuk on the sideline. I thought that was incredible. Brock Purdy's a baller, man. Talented. Really good player. But so are his teammates. And I'll give you another example. If you watch Sunday Night Football, that pass that Russell Wilson threw in the end zone that Cortland Sutherland went up and just grabbed out of the air. There's so many wide receivers that would not even attempted to catch that ball. That was an A.J. Brown, Deebo Samuels, Brandon Ayuk type catch. George Kittle. The ball's in the air. Go get it. Jefferson on Minnesota. Yeah, I mean, good quarterbacks need receivers to go and get the ball. That wasn't a perfect pass by Russell Wilson by any stretch of the imagination. But the ball was there. It was like a rebound. It was like a rebound out of your area. Why was Dennis Rodman such a great rebounder? Because he thought every ball belonged to him. If it was in his area, if it was outside of his area, he always went and got the ball. And that's what Cortland Sutherland did tonight. And that's why the Denver Broncos are now 5-5. When Brock Purdy throws those crossing routes, more times than not, a 49er comes up with the football. That's not talked about enough, in my opinion. And that's all thing I'm saying. I'm saying, let's talk about that. What are you looking for tomorrow with the Warriors? Because Houston is not as good as OKC, but they're going to come in with a lot of confidence. And, we have to look for if there's any lingering effect by the Warriors. I don't think it will because they got championship caliber players, but we don't know how the young guys are going to respond. And they need young guys to be successful. Stephen Curry even talked about, he was quoted as saying there's a little stink, there's a smell in the locker room, from that loss. And I get it. Again, I'm just happy for the team that they didn't have to wait long to play another game. They get a chance tomorrow night to go out. I mean, if they play as well as they played on Saturday night, the Warriors break their 6-game losing streak. They need to. I also have to check myself a little bit because I was watching Phoenix play Utah tonight. And I watch Kevin Durant sometimes and I think that, he's not quite the same player only because he gets tired. Dude was in the Wayback Machine tonight, man. He was on one. That was the Golden State Warrior version of Kevin Durant against Utah. He just took that game over. Every time he let it go, everybody in the building thought it was going in. So I got to give Kevin Durant his props, man. I mean, he's 35 too, and still one of the top 10 players, top 5. He's a top 10 player. Some might even say the top 5 player. I don't know if I'll say that. I would have to think about it for a minute, but certainly a top 10 player. And his skill set is still there. No question about that. Brandon Ayuk had 5 receptions. Yeah, we've already gone over that, SG. SG, let me ask you a question, dude. Why do you like to recite stats? I don't understand that. Why do you do that? What do the stats mean? What was it about a particular catch that Ayuk had or a particular read that Brock Purdy did? I mean, let's talk plays, man. The stats don't really mean anything. They mean nothing. Maybe you negotiate with your stats. It doesn't matter you're a statistician. It doesn't. That doesn't matter. We're talking sports, and stats don't. Oh yeah, okay, you like stats. All right, it's cool, but you can only repeat stats one time. As a host of a show, when I come on air or anybody else, they're going to tell you the stats. If you are a host of a sports talk show, and you don't come on and establish the statistics of whatever games you're talking about, then you're not doing your job. We're not waiting for the audience to present the stats. That's not how it works. If you were hosting your show, you would come on and you would talk about stats. Once, you couldn't continue to talk about the same stats. The stat doesn't change. But there are countless plays that happen within the game that can be talked about. There are so many different subplots that can be talked about as the 49ers prepare for their next game. You know, not stats. That's boring. And it doesn't really have a great deal of relevance. I'm more interested in talking about what you think, SG, not about a number. Vicky concurs. No, numbers, no. Yeah, because numbers do lie. If there was a sports drink named after Brock Purdy, what would it be called? Rock, natural soft drink, something like that. Yeah, Rock. That's actually a good question. Very good, SG. I like that. And it gives me and everybody else an opportunity to think about that. I don't want to turn the show into what Brock Purdy's drink would be, but that's actually a good question. You know, so now you're cheating. Stop cheating. Brock-Aid? Come on, man. Like Gatorade? That would be okay if Gatorade had not been invented before. Why you want to cheat off Gatorade, man? Be original. You're funny, dude. Gotta take on, as I said earlier, Stanford women's basketball. I love women's basketball. You guys know this. What they're doing now on the court is unbelievable compared to even a decade ago. And I love that the women's game, has advanced so much to the point where it's really about skill and it's about entertainment. All right? There isn't 3 or 4 teams in the entire NC2A who have a chance to win a national championship or are worth putting on television. There are so many good teams out there. All right, I watched a lot of the Stanford versus Duke game this afternoon, and certainly the biggest moments I watched. And Cameron Brink, Stanford's All-American, best player, 6'4", jumping jack, soft touch, shooter. She's shooting the 3 now. I'm going to say this, though. I'm not so sure that her future lies in the WNBA. Now, will she have an opportunity to play in the WNBA? Will she be a first-round pick? Absolutely. With the Golden State expansion franchise, love to have her on the team. Yeah. Is she a great potential marketer of a WNBA team? Absolutely, she is. Now, the reason why I have some reservations with regards to her playing in the WNBA long term is because I don't know if she really likes the physical contact, and she calls for a lot of fouls, almost like pleading for referees to call fouls. And I'm not saying that she's not getting fouled, but what I'm saying is that there's a level of contact at this level, and certainly as a professional, that she's going to have to endure if she's going to be successful. This is a competitive environment. I was going to say something else. It's almost like too cliche-ish, but the women in the WNBA, those are grown women that mix it up, and they understand, just like the men, that the physicality of the game impacts winning. And as long as Cameron wants to deal with that, I think she'll be fine. But you're talking about somebody who aesthetically, yeah, she's beautiful. I'm not watching her play basketball saying, wow, she's beautiful. But she is. And, the visual talent that she has is going to create so many more opportunities to the point where she'll be in a situation where she's assessing which direction she wants to go in. Being a professional athlete, a model, product endorser, maybe she can do it all. But it got me thinking because she asks for a lot of fouls. She does. How do you feel about that? You think I'm off? You think I'm right? Have you not noticed? Stanford is always great at women's basketball. Great coach. Yeah. Tara Vanderveer is a Hall of Famer, legend. And after losing a couple of key players last year, I didn't know that they would be as good, though. I knew Cameron was coming back, but they have a freshman by 6'4" also who's really good. I'm not going to butcher her name, but I watched her play today. She's top notch. They got a good point guard. They got shooters. Stanford, yeah. I mean, once again, they'll be one of the teams fighting to make the Final Four and possibly win a national championship. There's about 7 teams this year. 7 or 8 teams I think that could potentially win. Iowa is certainly one with Caitlin Clark. UConn is really good. NC State beat UConn. They're good. So Stanford's good. There's a lot of teams that can play. South Carolina, I didn't know what Dawn Staley's team was going to look like. I knew they'd be really good, but they look like a juggernaut. And you have LSU, who is going through some stuff with one of their best players at this point. So I'm on top of it, man. I like women's basketball. SG, I would love to see San Jose State Spartans women's basketball team to sign. All right, I'm going to put you on timeout, man. Why would San Jose State sign Cameron Brink? She goes to Stanford. You're killing the show, dude. Stop doing that. Stop it. So that's my take on that. If you don't know who Cameron Brink is, check her out. I think you'll be impressed. 72 free throws in a row. I'm pretty impressed by that, no doubt. Now, this weekend, I had an opportunity after taking a week off to go check out a movie. And the movie that I saw was called Next Goal Wins. And the writer-director is Taika Waititi. And I am assuming that this gentleman is of Samoan descent. And I had seen the trailer of this movie, Next Goal Wins. And the trailer almost makes you not want to see the movie. It's like if you were going to put together a marketing plan for a reason not to see a movie, that's what that trailer looks like. And every now and then, that happens, which is weird to me because people who make movie trailers get paid significant money. And you would think you'd be able to take the best parts and put together something that is exciting that would inspire people to go watch the movie. That was not the case. The movie stars Michael Fassbender, talented actor. He actually has a movie out now that I want to see called The Killer, which is getting good reviews. I guess it's on Netflix. It was in the movie theaters for 1 week, and I missed that. I wanted to see that. But the movie is, the premise of the movie is an American coach, or not necessarily American, a non-Samoan coach goes to the island of American Samoa to coach the team in preparation for the 2014 World Cup. That's the premise. This team has not had any success. They actually gave up 30 goals in one game, I believe to Canada or Australia. This is a real story. And, this coach comes in, like a fish out of water, not really respecting the players, looking at them thinking that, what am I doing here? I'm on my last legs. There's no way that I could kind of piece these players together to build a team. We've seen that premise before. But the movie is really not about that. The movie is about equality, empathy, the truisms of life, sorrow, and finding purpose. Yeah, that's what the movie's about. And I don't think I can tell you more than that. The context of the film is about taking a horrible group of soccer players and building them into a unit that can have some success. That is the overriding theme. But that is not the foundation that holds the film together. This film is about equality, leadership, love, heartbreak, and again, finding purpose in life. That's what it's about. I was pleasantly surprised to have seen this film. It also has Elizabeth Moss in this film. She's a great actor. Elizabeth Moss, outstanding. She's in it as well. As she says, the movie is very similar to Ted Lasso. I haven't seen Ted Lasso. But yeah, if that's the case, then that's pretty darn good. So, if you like movies, like I do, and you like to go into the movie theater, then you might want to check out Next Goal Wins. Samuel, what's up? What's up, OG? Hope all has been well. Hey, man, I can't complain. I wouldn't complain anyway. I wasn't raised like that. But I am doing good. I'm looking forward to the holidays. Another thing that you don't know about me, but it's true, is I'm a pretty good cook, and I enjoy cooking. So last night, while I'm watching videos and doing a multitude of things, I didn't go to bed last night until about 3:30. I went to bed about 3:30 in the morning, and I woke up at about 7:30. I slept about 4 hours. And I don't know what it says, but I don't sleep a lot. I really don't. But I'm good with naps. I love naps, man. Naps. Man, I love naps. Like, if you give me like a 2-hour nap in the afternoon on the weekends, that's like 6 or 7 hours for me. I don't know about it. I went to the gym, worked out, put 2 hours in the gym, had a meal and had a nice nap and start thinking about the show. But last night I was up doing a bunch of food prep. A lot of people don't understand. You show up on Thanksgiving or Christmas and you have these wonderful meals, and you eat and you're feeling good, great conversation, great family members and friends, whomever you're hanging with, and the experience is awesome. Unless you are the person who did all the work or you contributed to it. And it brings me closer to my mom. My mother's not in the same part of the country that I am, but she taught me everything I know about cooking. And it's really about the food prep. The food prep is really the thing that takes the most time. So I did about 2 hours of food prep last night, chopping up all of my vegetables and putting them in Ziploc bags and just kind of getting ready for the actual putting together of the meal, which I'll do on Wednesday. But yeah. Aw. Vicky says, can you cook me a meal? I'll pay. When somebody asks you to cook them a meal, that's gratitude. You don't have anybody. You don't let anybody pay for that. So yeah, Vicky, sure. Yes, yes. I cook for a lot of people. It makes me feel good. I'm not only cooking a Thanksgiving meal, but I'm making a gumbo as well. So I have all those ingredients. Yeah, there's nothing better than looking at folks and having them sincerely like what you cook. And as a guy, it's not expected. Most men, I think pretty much all men would be great at cooking if that's what they wanted to do. But sometimes we let the women do it or let somebody else do it. People, regardless of gender, I think people who take pride in cooking really have great satisfaction doing that. It's so much fun to see the end product, but it's a lot of work. All right, no doubt about that. All right. Good day in sports. Great weekend. Raiders played the Miami Dolphins pretty tough today. I wasn't surprised by that at all. I think that they're locked in on Antonio Pierce. It'll be interesting to see if he gets an opportunity to get the head job. Because what that means is that the owner has to write a big check, because you're not going to embarrass him by offering him pennies on a dollar compared to what you would offer somebody else. He's not going to accept that. I wouldn't accept that. So hopefully Antonio Pierce gets a real opportunity, because I mean, if you're a head coach in the NFL, $4 million minimum, that's on the low end. You probably should be making at least $5 million a year. Josh McDaniels was making a lot more than that, I think. I don't know for sure. But the Raiders played Miami pretty well and had a chance to win. But Ramsey came up with a big interception in the end zone. And he did what you would expect him to do, beat Jalen Ramsey. I mean, he's one of the great DBs in all of football, and he did his thing. Essie, I'm going to get you in here because I want to – you didn't write this, let me get it out there. Ted Lasso, an American college football coach, is unexpectedly recruited to coach a fictional English Premier League soccer team, AFC Richmond, despite having no previous experience. Yeah, we've seen that thing before. And here's the thing, SG and everybody else. Next Goal Wins is about a true story in the American Samoa. So that's a true story. That's not fictional. And it also deals with some issues in our society that are meaningful. So check it out. If you get a chance to watch the movie, then go do it and let me know what you think. Samuel asked me a question. He says, thoughts on A's leaving Oakland? It hurts, man. It hurts. I love Oakland. Growing up as a kid in New York, I didn't know a lot. Literally California was like another world, another continent. I knew nothing, but I knew the Oakland A's and I knew the Oakland Raiders and I knew who Al Addles was. I knew Mr. Addles. Obviously I knew San Francisco, the 49ers, but Oakland is synonymous with greatness, a weekend attitude, togetherness, collaboration, multicultural. I love Oakland, and loyalty is another word that is synonymous with Oakland. So, when I was a kid, when I found baseball as a kid, I could name Oakland players, man. So to have a narrative that puts the blame on the Oakland fans, it's just god awful. It is disgusting. It builds on a narrative that people don't like. of people of big money folks coming in, taking advantage of communities, and then leaving. There's so many different scenarios that we could talk about that are just not good. So I'm not emotionally attached to the A's. I mean, you know what? It's just a business now because I think that they're all but gone. But I feel sorry for the fans. I feel sorry for the fans because the fans are emotional and they do care. And these teams are a part of their lives. You know, if you're a San Francisco 49er fan, you literally never have to worry about the 49ers leaving San Francisco, even though they don't play in San Francisco, the Bay Area. You don't have to worry about that. I'm a New York Knicks fan. We haven't won a championship since forever. I don't have to worry about the New York Knicks leaving New York. I'm always going to be able to turn the television on and see the blue and orange. I'm always going to be able to see that. That does something for me because those are my heroes. Walt Clyde Frazier still working for the Knicks. Bill Bradley, the senator. You know? That's how I feel about the Oakland A's, man. I mean, so many memories. Sal Bando, Reggie Jackson, you know? I can go on and on and on and on and on. Dave Parker. Yes, sir. Brooklyn reminds me of Oakland a lot. Yeah, it does, man. I mean, you know, when I came out to the West Coast, I didn't expect it. I mean, I love New York. That's who I am, you know? But I was like, damn, this is kind of like New York in a lot of ways. A lot of ways. Soul food restaurants. I mean, you know, I like this area. I really do. And I used to go to, now I was covering the team, but I would go to, there are years in which I've gone to like 10 A's games. Haven't done that in a while, but I just think that team is so synonymous with that community. The Oakland, the A's in Vegas is nothing more than a business transaction. That's all it is. Where are they going to get fans? Are they going to bus fans in from God knows where? It's a joke. And it would not surprise me that within 5 years, that owner sells the team to somebody else and gets the hell out of there with a bag full of money, although he's already rich. Vicky says, that owner just spit in Oakland A's fans' faces. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. John Fisher. Yeah. Sad. SG says, as a San Francisco Giants fan, I'm not a fan of owner John Fisher, who is a disgusting human being and an absolute jerk. And you want to see him. What are you going to do? Yes, the great Vita Blue, Vicky. Absolutely. Vita Blue, I guess he's one of the few players to win the Cy Young in both leagues, National League and American League. I'm going to tell you something that's cool about Oakland also, the Oakland A's. The Oakland A's, and I don't think it's endemic to only Oakland, but it's one of those cool things. Oakland has produced so many great players that are actually from Oakland. Ricky Henderson with Oakland Tech, Claremont Middle School. Dave Stewart from Oakland went to St. Liz. That's history. That's history right there. Kind of like, you know, Brandon Crawford in some ways. I mean, Brandon Crawford went to high school in the East Bay, but if ever there's somebody who I think is so aligned to what the San Francisco Giants represent, it's Brandon Crawford. And I think that's awesome. I'm a big Brandon Crawford fan. But Oakland has produced a lot of players who actually are from that community. MC Hammer was a ball boy. Great history, unbelievable history. Samuel, that's impressive, dude. Oakland Tech alumni in the house. I know you're proud. That's dope. That's dope. Oakland Tech has a lot to offer. No question about that. And there's a lot of dignitaries in Oakland who also went to Oakland Tech. Politicians, judges. Pretty incredible. Oakland as a city is one of the most interesting and authentic cities in the world, in the absolute world. We could do another show for 2 hours just talking about people who are from Oakland. Andre Ward, Sway, John Callaway. I mean, and as somebody who's from the East Coast, I have another example. Dude, you see how much love Stephen Curry and is her name Anisha Curry? I want to kill her name. But you see the love that they give to Oakland. They love Oakland. Love it. Mr. Fab. I mean, all these people. Hieroglyphics. I mean, come on. The history is unbelievable. You know? Samuel says, our field is named after Ricky Anderson. Yeah. It's a dope field, too. Really, really nice. Love that field. You know? Yeah, so those are my thoughts on the Oakland A's leaving. The Raiders, if you take the emotion out of it, I get it. I understand. The NFL is such a cash cow. Allegedly, Mark Davis was not one of the wealthiest owners when he was in Oakland. Didn't even own 50% of the team. How that relates to his financial status, I don't know. I'm not going to speak too closely about that because I don't know. But I do know that literally a year after going to Las Vegas, all of a sudden the Raiders were worth $6 billion. So it's been a cash cow for Mark Davis and all of the other owners associated with the Raiders. And football is different because football, I mean, you only have 8 home games, 9 now with 17 games, maybe. And most of their fans really don't have a problem going to Vegas for a weekend. They don't. If we're being honest, they don't have a problem with it. The challenge with the Raiders is they have no home field advantage. So how can you seriously think that you can impact the game and go up against the Titans of the NFL? Think about that. A team as well-known, as historic as the Raiders, they don't have a home field advantage. They don't. And that's not going to change. When the Steelers, when the Giants or whomever sees that they're going to play the Raiders in Vegas, it's a field trip. It's a mini vacation. Why don't we get married on Saturday and then go to the game on Sunday? That's the mentality. Oh yeah, we'll take Friday off. We'll get married on Saturday, and then we'll go watch the game. And we'll bring about 100 of our friends. Vicky says, Mark Davis is another jerk. We've heard that before. Yeah. I think he was up against it. because he was not going to get anything done in the Bay Area, Vicky. It was not going to happen. He wasn't going to get the loans that he wanted, the money. It wasn't going to happen. The only thing that he could have done is sell the team for a lot less money than he has now. And, I would have been okay with that, but I get it. I do understand. And I'm actually a big, I get Al Davis. I do. I like the maverick that Al Davis was. And I'm sure that everything that he did, as a matter of fact, I know everything he did wasn't great. But Al Davis was a historic figure. And he was literally one of one. And, I remember I actually had a brief conversation. Well, no, I didn't have a conversation. He was talking to a player. And myself and somebody who I was working with were standing there. And we were like in the conversation, but we wasn't talking. And Al Davis was talking to somebody who the Raiders had just signed, who was at the facility. And, Al Davis was a player, a scout, a general manager, and ultimately an owner. Al Davis recruited Jim Brown to Syracuse. The man knows football. He really does. He really did, R.I.P. And look at the coaches. I mean, he's been first in a lot of things. Hyatt Flores as a head coach, one of the first Latinos ever to be a head coach. Hired John Madden at probably like 29, 30. This dude was different. Definitely different. Oakland Raiders is another iconic team. No question about that. All right. I thought I was going to get out of here 15 minutes ago and somebody put something out there and I just kept talking. So I want to thank y'all for tuning in tonight. Be on the lookout for a show. Hell, if something interesting happens tomorrow with the Warriors and maybe I'll step in for a minute or two. I like doing this. This is really about the reps, and being dependable for people and having people be dependable for you, and hopefully creating and providing excellent content. That's the goal. All right. I'm going to do my thing and get out of here. Success in getting paid is a manifestation of the whole process. If you as an individual don't do things to help other people make their lives better, as far as I'm concerned, you haven't done nothing. This is the In the Dungeon show. My name is Frank Red. If you don't follow me on X, then hit me up where it says at Big Frank Red right there on the screen. And if you like the show, subscribe to it on YouTube. You can subscribe and also hit the like button because both of them help. All right. And Vicky says, thanks, Frank. I like this. Well, I like you being a part of it. All right. Good night, everybody. Have a great Monday, and I'll talk to you down the road. Peace.